Hello and welcome to the Federal. In our continuation of the coverage of the US elections, we are having this discussion post the Super Tuesday week. This week we had the Super Tuesday, and at the Federal we have been writing about it, particularly Dr. Sridhar Krishnaswamy. He's got it right so far. I don't know, probably lucky, or your analysis has been bang on the money. So it was a very interesting Super Tuesday. I mean, we have been following what you say in general, and we could say that it was a surprising comeback by Biden. Can we say that? Can we say that because in states like Massachusetts, which is essentially a strong Warren is from that state, he pulled off a magnificent victory. So what happened this Super Tuesday, and your take on the Super Tuesday?
Thank you for having me here. Super Tuesday was indeed a brilliant show on the part of former Vice President Joseph Biden, because by the time Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada took place, people were just about getting ready to write him off.
Correct.
And but South Carolina gave him the biggest boost. And it was not stopping after that, because South Carolina, you have to kind of understand, you have a large number of African Americans who voted massively for him. Now, the biggest shocker, as far as is, as you said, Elizabeth Warren. She could not even take her own state, Massachusetts. Now, what does it say of her candidacy then? Because basically, if you're not even able, it's just like Joe Biden not able to take Delaware, however small it may be, but that is very symbolic. Super Tuesday was indeed a big shot in the arm for former Senator Joseph Biden.
So what next, Dr. Sridhar? Now that the Super Tuesday is over, what happens next?
The next event is on March 10th. That is another Tuesday, in which 6 states, states like Idaho, the state of Washington, Michigan, and 2-3 other states, they head for the primaries and caucuses. Of these 6, people are talking very big about Michigan, because don't forget, Michigan is a very critical state. It is a worker state. It is a manufacturing center. Michigan is also a place where you have a lot of minorities. You have a lot of African Americans. So they are going to make it very big. And Michigan is a place where Mr. Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton in 2016 by a very convincing margin. Now, if he does it again this year in 2020, then the race is still up. But if Mr. Biden comes the better in Michigan, then it will be a big blow to Mr. Sanders. Now, what are the chances of Mr. Biden, pulling it off? They're pretty good, for the simple reason that in a city like Detroit, you have a huge population of African Americans. And so far, statistics in America have shown that in every state that Mr. Biden has won, including Super Tuesday, the African Americans have stayed with him by at least a 60% margin. One other advantage that Mr. Biden has was that he saw financial heavyweight Michael Bloomberg get out of the race. So basically, you have 3 political heavyweights and 1 financial heavyweight getting out of the race, and all of them, no, not Elizabeth Warren, she is still holding her cards close to her chest, but Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar and Bloomberg have thrown their weight behind Mr. Biden.
So this is another interesting point, and which was reflected even towards the campaigning, right? And this I speak with particular reference to Bernie Sanders, also Warren to an extent in the past, but now Bernie Sanders. Are things like McCarthyism still relevant? Is America scared or of socialism, if I have to say that, because there were some very interesting things which Bernie Sanders seems to be saying, which actually makes a lot of sense. For example, America must spend more on healthcare, get their education infrastructure in place, minimum wages, things like that.
It's how the incumbent president, Mr. Donald Trump, is going to put it across. I think you would love to see a ticket in which Mr. Bernie Sanders is the lead, because he has always been calling him as a crazy leftist. He has called him as a commie. He has called him as a socialist. So basically, these are fear-mongering tactics. That is, you tell your constituencies, which is your extreme right wing, the people who are not educated, the people who have not gone to college, the people who are white, saying that if you put this fellow into the White House, the next thing you are going to see is a communist takeover of America. McCarthyism was little more sophisticated in the 1950s, Senator Eugene McCarthy. But I don't think Trump is that kind of sophisticated, and I don't think he would want to play that kind of a sophisticated line. His main job is to scare the living hell out of his base, saying that Bernie Sanders is bad enough. Now, if there's going to be a Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren ticket, you've got it, man. You're going to pay for it. And that's exactly what I'm sure he would want, because Biden, by all accounts, especially within the Democratic establishment, he is seen as a very professional, very moderate. Although he has not come up with exact policies, I don't expect Mr. Biden to kind of latch on to the fringes of extremism anywhere, whether it is in domestic policy or in foreign policy.
So we are now through with the Super Tuesday. Probably next the coming week, where we are having the remaining 6 states. So can we say that by next week probably we would have an indication of who the Democratic nominee ticket is going to be, or is that something left going to be pushed right till the DNC?
I don't think you will have anything clear by next Tuesday. My own gut feeling is that this convention that you're going to see in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is going to be a highly contentious one. Basically, you're talking about none of these, either Biden or Mr. Sanders, having a majority of the delegates. Everyone who is getting into the convention floor on July 25, 26, 27 or somewhere thereabouts is only going to have a plurality. There is every potential of hell breaking loose, because you're going to have supporters of Mr. Sanders watching very carefully to see that the party elders do not rig this convention in favor of Mr. Biden, because Biden is essentially what the Democratic establishment would want, a moderate. Mr. Sanders says that the traditional machine, Democratic machine, is not going to be able to beat Mr. Trump. So you need a new voting class that I have, which is the educated, middle class, young youth, both male and female. But there are questions whether over the last few months, whether he has been able to retain this new voting class.
Very true.
Statistics have shown that figures have shifted against him.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar Krishnaswamy, for yet again explaining about this whole Super Tuesday. Do continue to watch the Federal as we have this coverage of the US presidential elections. So please do follow, please do send us your comments. You could follow us on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and as well as our Instagram handle. Thank you, and you're watching The Federal.